Hello everyone, this is Anil Khwaj. I'm a registered migration agent and co-founder ThinkHack Consultants and pdclasses.com. Topic we'll be covering today is the employer sponsorship and what are the relevant opportunities. Now there are two kinds of employer sponsorship. One is the 482 visa, which is now called as skill in demand visa, whereas another visa which is 186, that's a direct permanent residency, which is called the employer sponsorship scheme as well. Now both visas leads to a permanent residency since the new rules have come. If your occupation is under CSOL list, then both pathways are good for you. Only we need to check which pathway would be more suitable and whether you are meeting one of the subclasses requirements or not. Let's talk about 482 visa first. This is a temporary visa which leads to a pathway that's called the TRT, temporary transition stream. This is a temporary visa which leads to a 186. Now in this visa you have to work for 2 years for the employer, and then you ask your employer, request your employer to sponsor you for 186. Now to meet the 482 requirements, the prerequisite are you must have a formal qualification to a nominated occupation where you would be asking your employer to sponsor you. You must need to have at least 1 year of post-study experience, and this needs to be minimum 38 hours per week or full-time. If you're doing a part-time job, then it's going to be a pro rata. So say if 20 hours per week, then you have to work for 2 years in order to make 1 year. Now once you meet the requirement, you apply for 482. Now 482 has 3 steps. First is the standard business sponsorship. Second one is the nomination, and third is the visa. Now sponsorship and nomination are the obligation of your employer. So SBS, you require basic company documents, they will submit, and eventually SBS is quite easy to get. Now second stage is the nomination, where if your occupation don't have a waiver of LMT, then you have to apply for a ad first. Your employer first will test the Australian market. If they don't find anyone, then they are able to sponsor you. This ad needs to be run for minimum 28 days. Generally, we do at least 2 platforms. Some say like Seek, Indeed, or Gumtree. Once you do that one, 28 days has surpassed, they haven't found the right candidate, then they can sponsor you. They can submit the contract, position description, organization chart, few financial documents, lease, and few other business documents in your nomination application. After that, you have to apply for a visa. Now you can do all 3 applications together as well. First SBS, then nomination, and then visa. But we highly recommend that you should wait for nomination approval to be granted and then visa application, because if the nomination get refused, then your visa will ultimately get refused as well. So you don't want to go into that trouble. But eventually, if the situation is where your visa is expiring, then you have to do the 3 applications together. If the employer already have SBS, then you don't need to apply for new SBS. SBS, as I said, standard business sponsorship. This is generally a 5-year sponsorship the department gives at the time of approval. Now coming back to the nomination, so once you apply for the nomination, then you have to lodge the visa application. And visa application, you have to submit your educational documents, your experience, your English, and once you submit that one, then you need to wait. Generally, the whole processing time is from 6 to 8 months, and it can go up to 14 months depending on the global processing time. So keep an eye on global processing time, or ask your migration agent to follow up with the right department to expedite your application if it's decision ready. Hope that helps.